Hello friend, welcome to the course Foundations of R Software, and in this lecture we are going to take up the last topic of the data handling. Well, I am not saying that this is the last topic in the sense that there are no more topics which are related to the data handling, but possibly in this course today we are going to take up the last topic of this broader topic, data handling. Now up to now what you have done, you have created different types of files, you have learned how to read the file and how to do different types of operation. Now at the end the last question comes, how are you going to save the file? For example, whenever you are trying to do some programming, there is going to be an outcome, there is going to be output. So the question is, up to now what you have seen, you are trying to see the outcome on the screen, right, using print, cat, etc. Now my objective is that I want to save these files to an external file, or in simple word I want to save the output in some external files. So how to get it done? That's a very simple topic, and in R there are a couple of ways in which you can do it, but to make the life simple and to make this presentation simple, and because we are learning at a very elementary course, he will try to consider here some elementary operation through which you can save the outcome of your program in a file. So whenever I am trying to do it, you have to first specify the location of the folder in which you want to save the file, otherwise that will be saved in the default folder of the R software. So that is up to you where you want to save your file, right. So let us try to begin this lecture and try to see how we can save the output of a command into a file. Okay, so we have a function here, write, WRITE. So you see, as the name suggests, write, the job of this function is to write the data to a file, right. So if I say, if I want to write data which is here X, and I want to write it inside a file, then usually you will see that with this write function the data in X is usually in the form of a matrix, right. And in case if you want to make some changes, you have to do it accordingly. For example, if X is a two-dimensional matrix, and if you need to transpose it so that columns in the file are matching with the columns in the outcome, then you need to transpose it, right. So I will say very simply that you have to look that how your data is arranged in the outcome and how it is saved. That you have to look into the behavior of the R software, that how it is trying to save, and then if you want to do it in other way, you have to use a proper logic, and then you have to convert it in the way you want. It is as simple as that, right. And when you are trying to use the function here, right, then there are many options which can help you in saving the file in the format you want. So for example, if I say here X, so X is the data which is to be written, usually an atomic vector, and after this I have to give here the name of the file. So I write down here FILE all in lowercase alphabet, and is equal to, within double quotes you have to give the name of the file, right. So this file is indicating a connection or a character string naming the file to write to it, right. And if you try to use the double quotes, the print to the standard output connection is done. And similarly, if you want to give that how many columns should be there in the outcome, that you can control by the option NCOLUMNS. Then after that there is an option of here append. Append means, for example, you are trying to execute a program and some program comes here. Now you try to re-execute the program. So now there will be next outcome. So what do you want? Do you want to write it after this, or means do you want to add it, or do you want to append it, or this is your earlier outcome, and if you are coming with the newer outcome, this is going to be just overwritten on it. So append is trying to control the option whether you want to append or overwrite. Right. So it takes value in terms of true and false. So if you say this append is equal to false, that means the data is going to be overwritten. Right. Now similarly you have here another option here, sep, that means separator, means how the values are going to be separated, and within the double quotes you have to give the symbol or blank space whatever you want here. Right. So, and in case if you try to use here is equal to \t, then it will give you a tab delimited output. That means the values are separated by a tab. Right. So similarly you can see here these are here n columns and append. Right. So let me try to show you here an output, an example, and I will try to show you that the outcome, how the outcome is going to be diverted to a file. Right. So just for the sake of simplicity, I try to take here the numbers from 1 to 100 and which are stored in the variable here x. Now I want to write this x in a file whose name is shalab. Right. So what I try to do here, that I try to write down here write, and then I try to write down here x and then file name and then here shalabh. Right. So if you try to see what will happen here on the R console, what I am going to do, yeah, first I have to change my directory so that I can show you where the file is going to be. Then I will write down here this data value here x, and then I execute the command here write, and then you will see here that in the notepad I can open a file here. This will be opened after this. So I will try to show you. So this is going to be your here step 1, and this is going to be step 2, where you will see that all these 100 values which you have generated in the x, they are stored here. Right. So let me try to show you this operation on the R console so that you become confident. Okay. So first you could see, as usual, I will try to change my working directory as to C:\R course. So I have created a folder R course on the C drive of my computer. So I set it here, and yeah, you can see here that this is here the folder R course, and you can see here very clearly that this folder is completely empty. You can see here it is written the folder is empty. Right. So that you can believe on me that okay, whatever is the outcome, that is going to be generated, and that is going to be the same. So now I try to come here on the R console and I try to generate here, say x is equal to here 1 to 100 like this. So you can see here x here looks here like this. Right. And then I try to write down here write x, and inside the file name here shalab. So if you try to see here, I am trying to execute it here, and there is no outcome here because the outcome has gone to this here R course. If you come here, you can see here means just before that there was no file, and now there is a file, and if you try to open it here, you can see here this is here the file. Right. So you can see here that when I am trying to execute it here, now if you try to see what is the difference between this write and x. If you try to say here use here print x, so what this print x is going to do? Print x is simply going to show you the output on the R console only. Right. But when you are trying to do here write, then write is going to save the output in the file. Okay. Now let me try to show you here one thing here more. Now suppose I try to generate here one more here x, say x is equal to suppose C say 101 to say 120. So this is here like this, right. Now here x, and now I want to show you that when I try to write down this outcome to this here file, and if I give here append is equal to here true, then what happens? Right. So let me try to execute it here, and you will, yeah, let me try to close the file first. Yeah. And then if you try to see here, I have executed it, and then now if you try to come to this file here, and if you try to see here this file here, you can see here now there are values here 101 to 120 which are added here. Right. And similarly, if you want to get here more confidence, then what I can do here, that I try to take here, say here y is equal to letters, say letters 1 to say here 20, right. And if you try to see here y, now here is like this alphabet, and I try to write down the same here y in the same file whose name was Shalab, and I am saying here append is equal to true, right. So now after I execute it, let us try to see what happens to the file Shalab. So you could see here, now if you try to see at the end what is happening here, you can see here that all the alphabets, they have come here, right. And similarly, if you try to see here for one more example here, say z is equal to here, say here matrix. Now let me try to say here n row is equal to suppose 3, n col is equal to 3, and data is equal to 1 to 9, right. So now if you try to write down the same z in this file here, what happens? If you try to see now here, now what will happen? I try to open here this here file here Shalab, and then you can see here after this the 20th letter, all these values here, they have come like this, right. So and if you try to see here how this z looks like, it is like here 1 to 9 number, but they are arranged column wise. And in this file you can see here all the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, they have just arranged in this way, right. And similarly, in case if you try to say here, say if I try to take here x is equal to here suppose 1 to here 100, now once again, and then if you try to see this is your here x, and now what I try to do here, that I try to create here, say this n columns is equal to 10. That means now I want to store this data into 10 columns, and then I try to create here another file here Shalab1, right. And then I try to write down there this here x. So if you try to see here what happens, now there is a new file Shalab1 which is created here, and if you try to see here, now the data is arranged here from 1 to 100, right. Now similarly, if you come here and try to generate here one more y, and then you try to see here that try to generate the data from 101 to 200, and then you try to write down this y in the same file here Shalab1, but now suppose I try to increase my number of columns, let us see what happens, and the append is equal to here true. So right, if you try to now see here what will happen here, that I try to open this file once again, you can see here that 101 to here these values here, you can see here up to 1 to 100 they were stored in 10 columns, but 101 onwards they have been stored in a data file which has 15 columns, right. You can see here this is the actually first row which has 15 values, this is here the second row which has the 15 values, and so on. So this is how you can see that we can proceed and we can save these files in different formats, right. And now similarly I have given you one example in detail, and after that I believe that others, if you want to save other types of file, then you simply have to look that what is the correct command, right. And after this the functioning will remain the same, right. Okay, so if you try to suppose if I want to know that how I can save a tabular or CSV data files. So now what you have to look into the R software and then try to find what is this function. So the function you will find is write.csv, write.csv. So this function can write the tabular data to an ASCII file in the CSV format. And the way it writes the data is like each row of the data creates one line in the file, and the data items are separated by commas. So for that also you have a simple command here write.csv, and then here x, you try to give here the file name, and then you can use here append is equal to true or false, exactly in the same way as you have done in the earlier case. And after that you will see here there are many more options, and I have just given you here this idea that how you can use them. And similarly, if you want to write the tabular data file, so similarly you have a command here write.table, write.table, table, and the format is the same, write dot table, and within the parenthesis you try to write down the content, the outcome, and then the name of the file, and then you have to use append is equal to true or false. And after that, similar to write dot csv, we have here many more options which well, I am trying to give you here. X I already have explained you, file I already have explained you, append I already have explained you. And after that, yeah, you can see here quote, separator, EUL, NA, etc. Right, they can be used here. For example, separator, you know what is this, right? And if you want to print character at the end of each line, that is a row, then you have to use here the option EUL. If you want to handle the missing values, then you have an option here NA, right, and so on. And then there are complete details and examples if you try to look into the help of this function, right? So now I come to an end to this lecture, and you can see that it was a pretty simple lecture. And what I have done, I have shown you the examples related to the write, and then I have taken a couple of examples so that I can convince you that write function can work in different ways, and you can save the file in different ways you want, right? Similar is the command to write the CSV file, tabular data files, and there are many more such structures. But I will leave them up to you. I have given you the basic idea. Now you simply have to look into the correct function or correct command to execute those actions. And after that, yeah, please don't forget to look into the help menu and try to read that what are the different options, because whenever you are trying to generate something, you always need it in a format so that this file can be used for some further execution. Right. It is possible that the outcome file which you have created here, that is some data file, and that is going to be used as an input in some other program. So try to be careful that what type of format do you want, and this format should be compatible for the use for the next job. So now it is your turn once again, that try to take some example, try to experiment it, try to write down the names of the file, try to change them, try to use different options, and after that you try to look into the file for sure that the type of changes what you wanted, are they being executed by the R in that file or not, and whether those effects are present in the file or not. And I will see you in the next lecture with a new topic. Till then, goodbye.